Yeah, I've been recording for like the last 3 minutes.
Oh shit, okay, let's go. Let's go. Yeah. I'm sorry. Ooh. Ignore that, editor.
Well, I'm the one fucking editing this mess. So,
shit,
so you're preaching to the choir, my boy.
I'm sorry, future Jack. I'm so sorry. Alright, so how are we gonna do this?
All right, we're just gonna start talking casually.
All right, so I'm gonna do the intro. So editor, when I start talking again, cut it to this point. So hello, welcome back to another amazing morning. How you been doing, Jack?
I've been doing all right. I've been pretty good. A little bit tired. Been working all week. I'm not gonna say where I work or what I do, but it's bullshit. But you know, I gotta make that paper.
Yeah,
to pay my bills.
I just finished doing what's it called? A driving test for my job I'm going into. I'm actually starting this Sunday.
Oh, no way. You got a new job?
Yep, got a new one.
All right then. Let's frickin' explain what this show's about. All right, so this is the Anime Match Cut podcast. This is the podcast where two good friends get together every couple of weeks.
And we talk about our favorite anime shows or TV movies.
Yeah, TV, movies, anime. Basically, yeah, you know, if it's on a screen, we basically talk about it. So every week, it's me and my co-host Ryu. We each recommend a movie or an anime or something that the other person has not seen before.
If the other person hasn't seen it at all, we both watch it together.
Yeah.
Refresh to it.
Yeah, and then we basically bring our own perspective and we just talk about the show. So just to give you a little bit of context, me, Jack, Film Guy 237 on Twitter. I like my Twitter handle says I'm a film buff. I like classic movies. I'm a movie buff. I like Quentin Tarantino. I like Stanley Kubrick, Jackie Chan. I like live action movies. And my co-host Ryu, he is a
anime weeb.
Fucking god.
I am an anime weeb. I'm going crazy with anime. I am current with the animes out today and some of the manga. Not all of it, some of it. So don't get on your weave shit on me, okay? I know some, not all, and I'm watching mostly anime, that's it. And also, I am also a streamer, so if you guys want to check me out under Twitch TV /Dragon9073, I'll be there streaming whenever I can.
Alrighty then. Okay, and so our first episode... this very first episode, we're going to be talking about a very special show. So
that is current right now.
Yeah, that's current. You know, new season just come out, but we're going to be talking about the first 4 seasons in this episode.
Which is Hero Academia.
All right. So My Hero Academia is a pretty awesome show. It's a shonen show. Can you explain to us what the show's about?
So basically, this show is all about a world. 80% of the population has a special power, which they call quirks. And these quirks comes out in different shapes and sizes. There are half of the people that use their abilities for villainous, and half of them have been created as a agency called heroes. And they have schools all over the world for heroes in training.
Yeah. So
we are focusing on Pacific characters, but mainly Pacific main character Izu Midoriya, or AKA more known as Deku.
Fucking Deku.
Yeah, and also Deku's childhood friend Bakugo, AKA
Cat
known as
boy.
more by Midoriya as Kachan.
Fucking Deku and Kachan.
You really hate Bakugo's personality, honestly.
I don't know. Yeah, he's a cunt. He's a real cunt. But yeah, but I think you're forgetting one more. One more character.
All Might. Yeah, All Might. The number one hero, symbol of peace. Everyone respect this man, but he has a dark secret. So dark that if the public hears about it, no one will see him the same light again. He got injured by fighting a villain. That's it. And he's been trying to find a successor to take over his quirk, basically.
Yeah.
And then mystery forces came together, and All Might found Midoriya and tell them, "Hey, you all right? I want you to become my successor."
Yeah. So yeah, that's basically the premise of the show. It's a world of superheroes, and Izuku Midoriya, he's a boy with no quirk, and so he gets made fun of a lot. One day he meets his hero, basically the number one hero, All Might, and All Might is basically like anime Superman, essentially.
Yeah, I don't like that. You reference him as a Superman. How dare you? But he kind of does.
He kind of is because
Yeah, he kind of is, but no.
I say that because I recently got HBO Max. I signed up for that service, and I've been just like rewatching like all these shows from my childhood, like Superman and Batman the Animated Series.
Oh, I love those.
Yeah,
when
me
I was
too.
a kid.
And yeah, so like just like how everybody like always like is so in love with Superman in those universes. Yeah.
Which Batman anime series do you like the best?
I really like the original one, the one from 1992. But,
Yes.
But there is a special place in my heart for Batman Beyond, because the 1992 one, I saw it every night on Cartoon Network, like in the evenings. But I never watched like any like the brand new episodes when they came out. But Batman Beyond came out when I was 4, and I would watch that show all the time, like up until like the last season on Saturday morning. So it has a very special place in my heart for that show.
Nice. I have the DVD as well. It's lost in my house, but if I take the time, I can find it.
They're all on HBO Max, dude.
Damn,
So.
but the hard copy is when they first come out. They never was an HBO Max.
Yeah.
Back in the day, never.
And speaking of streaming services, we watched My Hero Academia on Verb.
Yeah, which I have.
Yeah, and we watched it. And actually, just to let you guys know, we are mostly just gonna watch these animes in the sub version.
The original voice acting.
We're rarely gonna watch anything dubbed, except for a few exceptions. But that's later. But yeah, so we actually watched this dubbed, and
it was very neat to hear them in their natural voices.
Yeah, and I especially really like the actor who plays All Might, because he really does that kind of like exaggerated like superhero voice, and it brings a lot of comedy to the character. And actually, All Might's a very funny character. If I were to choose a favorite character, like hands down, it'd probably be between him and Midoriya. But yeah, like
going towards Midoriya because he's a crybaby a lot, right?
He develops. Like,
yeah, he does. Big time.
Yeah, season 1 Midoriya, he is very much a shaky little crybaby, but season 2, when it comes as season 2, season 3 comes along, he becomes very heroic and
less
a much
crybaby side.
Yeah, and he becomes much more likable along the way.
And a lot of girls at that time throw their bodies onto him.
Yeah, what the fuck is up with that?
Like every time, like there's a villain girl that goes crazy for Deku because he was injured. There was again when he was trying to get his license, and then a repair girl mechanic, Hasume, if I remember her name right, she blew up the place that they were supposed to fix their costumes and everything or do upgrades. She blew up the area and landed on Deku, boobs on his chest, and then in the movie, the twin heroes, All Might's old partner when he was in America, his daughter.
Yeah, she also had kind of the thing for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah, like what the frick is up with that? Because
Deku is a literal chick magnet.
Oh my god.
Like, boom, baby.
That's his real quirk.
Yeah, basically.
He doesn't have a quirk. That's his real quirk.
Yeah, that has to be... No, mom's ability, if you don't know, if you haven't seen it, Deku's mom's quirk ability is to attract small objects towards him.
Yeah.
And his father is supposed to be able to... His quirk is supposed to spit out fire. So what happens that Deku is saying that he doesn't have a quirk, but he actually does, it just attracts women.
Yeah.
He's called the chick magnet. So
he's like
that's a little theory out there.
He could be this universe's Quagmire.
The one that is too innocent to do anything.
Yeah. Isn't that ironic? It's ironic for him to have but no, that's actually a trope that I see a lot in like anime, where like anime more recent anime where like everybody just like loses their shit over like the main protagonist. But speaking of that, he actually has a pretty interesting relationship with one of his classmates,
Uraraka.
Uraraka, which I actually like as a character quite a bit. She's very cute, very funny, but she's not like annoying in any kind of way.
And she's also memed a lot.
Yeah, she gets memed a lot, but like if you watch the show, she's like a very likable character, and she like really yeah, she's just good. She's just good. I like her relationship with her and another character, Ida. They make like a really good little like best friend trio. And yeah, she's very likable. Like a lot of likable characters in this show. Because I like Midoriya. He's very likable. All Might is interesting. Even Bakugo is interesting, but in a different kind of way. I don't really like him because I do think he's
an ass. Yeah.
Yeah, he's an ass. He's an ass, like kind of like a character like Vegeta. But the difference between him and Vegeta, I actually find Vegeta very compelling. Him sometimes not so much. He's just like kind of a cunt, and like he gets in a couple of fights with our main character Deku, and every time one of those episodes happens, I just want Midoriya to beat his ass.
Yeah,
like
he keeps mentioning it every time. Like every time Midoriya and Bakugo interact with each other, he keeps saying, "I want Midoriya to kick his ass so hard." Just put him in the ground.
I want Midoriya to do that thing that he did like early in the season where they were doing like a PE test where they were like throwing like the ball.
Yeah.
I want Midoriya to put like 100% of his energy into like his finger so he can flick Bakugo's fucking head off.
Then Bakugo's head will just explode into blood mush.
I know, but I don't like him. I don't give a shit.
Wow, you're heartless then.
I mean, well, Bakugo is kind of heartless too.
Well, but yeah, in the first season, and then season 2, he notices like his heartlessness. He becomes friends with another classmate, Kirishima,
and it softens him a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, and then if you notice, Bakugo is now like more friendly towards people because Kirishima pushed Bakugo to be more open-minded and more friendly towards his classmates a little bit more.
That's true. He definitely does. Evolve throughout the series because if season 1 Bakugo is such an unlikable bastard.
He's a cunt.
But then like later in the season, you do in that episode where he and Midoriya have like their first quote unquote fight.
Deku versus Kachan.
Yeah, at the end of that episode, he starts to sort of like notice like, oh, you know, because he thinks he's like really hot shit.
Yeah.
But then he starts seeing like all the other students, like what they can do, how they're surpassing him. So he gets humbled.
Like basically, how he's trying to say is that Bakugo is coming to the school thinking he's hot shit, that he's gonna be the number 1 student to be overclassing everyone.
Yeah.
But the second he saw his classmates, even Deku suppressed Bakugo, overthink him, and actually won the training exercise they were actually doing. And Bakugo was there talking to himself, thinking that if Deku wasn't holding back, going all 100% of his power, I would have lost. Would he have won? That's impossible. Deku was just hiding from me. He was making fun of me in the background. And then after that, he sees the other of his classmates using his quirks, using their abilities and everything. And Bakugo starts like basically losing his own world because he thought he was all this hot shit and everything. Then seeing that he wasn't, he basically lost like the world he was living in.
Exactly. So I kind of want to focus on some of the characters right now. Let's talk a little bit about like Midoriya. Let's kind of talk about him like through the seasons. Like so, beginning of season 1, again, he's like the only person like in his like, it almost seems like he's like the only person in his city who doesn't have a quirk. But he's so like he's so pure-hearted and such a fanboy of like these heroes. And he's a hero
at heart.
Yeah. Yeah, he's very pure-hearted. Like he has like the best intentions, but just because he doesn't have the power to make any difference, that's like the thing holding him back. What happened? Oh, Sorry, folks. A little bit of a technical difficulty.
There you
Now
go.
let's
I fixed it.
Yeah, now let's get back to the shoe. Really big shoe. So yeah, what I like about him is like his like determination and his and just
You
like
are
his
filled
cleverness.
with determination.
Oh yeah, he really is. He really is. He like he has like in the first season he has like genuine fear about everything. Like even when he like goes to UA for the first time for the test, like he
He was studying,
yeah,
murmuring to himself.
yeah, he was murmuring to himself. He wanted to like just like turn back and not even do it, which is actually very relatable.
When you go to a job interview or anything.
Yeah,
like
anything
events.
big like that. Yeah, life changing events. But I start to really like Deku around season 2 actually.
Yeah, because he becomes more like solid. How to control his quirk. He's more or less crybaby.
Yeah.
He's no longer fearful of what's going on. He just does it because he wants to become a great hero.
Yeah, he feels like he's more into the action.
And also, he's also holding a lot on his shoulders.
Exactly.
Because he is now the successor of All Might's ability.
Exactly. And let's actually explain a little bit how Midoriya gets his powers.
So, in the first season, All Might, like I said, is the number one hero, symbol of peace, and Deku's a fanboy over All Might. And All Might at the time was looking for a successor. So he enrolled in UA, the number one top school in Japan. And All Might was actually went to enroll to the school as a teacher to look for a successor. But before he can even enroll, he already found his successor, which is Midoriya, because he was trying to save Bakugo from a villain, from almost killing him. So after All Might sees Midoriya's determination and trying to save his friend, even though he's quirkless, but All Might saw a potential in him, great potential. So after the whole incident happened, All Might personally seek out to look for Midoriya. So when All Might was looking at the time, he was looking for a successor. So Midoriya met with All Might because he was attacked by a villain, and they talk and just they separate ways. But when All Might was walking back to go fight the villain he fought before with Midoriya, he saw Midoriya went towards his friend, his childhood friend that was being almost suffocated by this villain. After seeing that, All Might went back out and saved them both. And after the incident, Midoriya went back home after being yelled at the heroes at the time that was trying to maintain the situation. But All Might personally seek him out and tell him that you are worthy to inherit my quirk. Which Midoriya at the time was confused because no one ever heard of anyone
passing down a quirk.
Exactly. So after that, before All Might even was met with Midoriya, he was already enrolled with the number one school, UA High School, which is the number one school of producing great heroes in Japan.
Yeah, it's like the Harvard of like superheroes.
Exactly. So after Midoriya agreeing to it, All Might trains Midoriya because he explains that if he give in his powers to him at the exact point how he is, all chubby, not that fit at all, he would basically explode.
Oh yeah.
To many pieces.
You know, and I just want to mention something about like these first couple of episodes. I'm really impressed on how tight, like how like written, like plot wise, how tightly written it is. Because from the first episode on, the story just really
picks up a lot.
Yeah, it really kicks into high gear. Because so I mentioned that I bought HBO Max recently. I also subscribed to Funimation, the Funimation app, and I've been rewatching Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball
in English.
Yes, but the thing about that though is like
in English it was good.
Yeah, but really Dragon Ball Z really doesn't doesn't really start getting good until the arrival of Vegeta and Nappa, like the first two big villains, and that's it almost takes 12 episodes to get to that.
And the famous meme that came out of there.
Yeah, it's over.
I'm gonna say it like, Vegeta, what did the scatter say about his power level? It's over 9,000! 9,000? No way, that can't be right.
Exactly. So for me, that's when the show starts getting good. So there's like a lot of filler in DBZ. But with My Hero Academia, first episode, we get a pretty cool like origin story. And then we do get like a couple of episodes where we see Deku training, which is fine. But as soon as those episodes are over, we go into like his test, his hero exam,
and his first time using this power.
Exactly, too. And then that lasts for like an episode, and then we start meeting the other students, the teachers, and how life is like in UA. And then finally, by the end, we get like our very first threat.
Yep.
So this season, even though it's not like one of my favorite seasons, the biggest thing that I do like about it is how tightly written it is. We get to know the characters.
We get to know the threats in the future.
They establish like the relationships that are gonna follow us through like the whole show.
And the rivalry between students and childhood friends and people they just met.
Yeah, and like Dragon Ball, My Hero Academia has a very great like supporting cast. Like I love All Might and Midoriya, but again like Shoto Todoroki, Bakugo, Uraka, Ida, even like the teachers like Eraserhead, they're all interesting, and whenever they're on screen, I get happy. I get happy because I enjoy watching characters that I like watching on the show. So season 1 is pretty interesting. It is kind of slow for me, but there's several parts of the show that I really like. I like the first episode. I like the first matchup between Bakugo and Midoriya. I kind of like Eraserhead's introduction, and I do love the ending, especially how like they solve that conflict. How do you feel about season 1?
For season 1, I liked it because it just introduced all the characters, how the world works, who was the top dog, who is the top dog of the villain area, the threats, how life is normally is like every day for everyone in that world. I really like it, and the characters introducing with Midoriya, making new friends, and like I like how the characters that interact with Midoriya because at that time Midoriya, it's like very scared because Bakugo always bully him and people always make fun of him because he didn't have a quirk. So him opening up to everyone and having more self-confidence during season 1, I like that because Midoriya is now trusting in himself and having more self-confidence in himself to fight on for his dream more.
Yeah, season 1 definitely focuses a lot on like Midoriya, All Might, and his relationship with Bakugo. So some of the other supporting characters, they don't get much development right away, but like season 2 really picks up, and that's I think one of the reasons why I like season 2 like the most. But so it's a pretty good first season. And especially like if you're like me who loves like superhero origin stories, like man, like I know people are like, oh, I don't want to see another origin of Superman or an origin of Batman or Spider-Man's origin, and I'm just like sitting here thinking like, I fucking love those. Those are like my favorite superhero stories. Their origin. So season 1 is a pretty good like origin like arc. So, but it's kind of slow for me. But season 2 really makes up for that in a great way. But before we go into season 2, let's talk about like the League of Villains. So we actually get introduced to them pretty late in the season.
Well, in the season, they ended it at the last like 5 episodes of season 1. Maybe 6 if I'm counting correctly.
Sometimes like one criticism I do have of the show is like sometimes a couple episodes do blend in together because literally sometimes like a fight takes 3 episodes to finish. But anyways.
Yeah. So the League of Villains at season 1 at that point are just well known for wanting to kill All Might. The first introduction was when the hero course with Midoriya is in went to go to do disaster training. Landslides, typhoons happening, fire hazards.
Yeah.
Everything that is like natural natural happening in the world that it's caused a lot of death and destruction around the world. They're basically training them to tell them how to deal with it. So before they could even start, the League of Villains came right in to inside the dome they were in for the training, and they announced themselves, "We're here to kill All Might." So basically, they fought the heroes that at that time that were there. They fought to protect the students, but the students also fought the villains as well to protect themselves and also to prove that they can handle it. And each student at the time were dealing their own conflicts and fighting. Some did attack and retreat tactics. Some went ahead forward. Some were overpowered and took them all down quickly. Some were calculating how to deal with the situation. Some couldn't even fight because their quirks weren't built to fight physical people with other people around, like people, friends and everything. So each student had their own battles dealing with because they were spread out by a villain to spread all the heroes to make it easier to kill them all. But it failed because in the very end, All Might shows up and All Might basically cleaned the floor of all the villains that were there and defeated the main villain that was there trying to kill him in the first place.
Yeah, the Nomu, I believe that's what he was called.
It was called the Nomu is basically a engineered human quirk combination monster that
his quirk almost reminds me of kind of like one of Wolverine's superpowers. Is where like if you damage Wolverine, like you cut him or something, or
he
shoot
just
at him,
heals automatically.
Yeah. So through that whole fight, I was like, I was just thinking, oh, it's Superman versus Wolverine essentially.
Wow. So we
Or
get a
Deadpool. Deadpool even has a similar mutant power like that.
Yeah, because Deadpool got that
From
healing
Wolverine.
generation from Wolverine. That's
Good
why
old-
when Deadpool is always around, he always Deadpool and Wolverine around and like, "Hey Wolverine, thank you for giving me that generation ability you gave me. That's sweet and swell," and doing all that crazy wacky whack shit he does.
Yeah, exactly. But that fight scene between Nomu and All Might is pretty epic, bro. I like because like you can tell like All Might is a punching guy.
Yeah,
He's a boxer. He's a brawler. So
and
the
also
way
he has wind pressure as well,
That's
distance
true.
attacks.
That's true. So All Might has like all these kind of like attacks, like California Smash, Delaware Smash, and so essentially like what my co-host just said, he's strong enough to like
Create air pressure.
Yeah, create air pressure, and like he's literally like a walking the thunderstorm essentially, or something like that. He's like a natural disaster, but in a good way. In a good way.
Yeah, in a
His powers
good way.
are good.
But he knows how to control his powers because he did say once if he was in his heyday, the villain that he was fighting would only take 5 hits. But because he is now much older and not that young anymore,
And
it
also
took him
injured.
and also injured. Yeah, also that. But most the injury is more causing that. His age and everything may have changed
Yeah,
probably
that's true.
like a little bit, but the injury cost him way more. So, because in his heyday, he was able to defeat villains like that in 5 punches. He says
like nothing. Yeah.
like nothing. But during that time, he was because All Might has a time limit now since the injury, and he said it took him 500 mighty blows to
Yeah.
take him out.
Yeah. Oh,
And-
but even though that happens, they still like the show. It creates like the show creates like an awesome like piece of animation with like all those punches. Like that is probably like one of my favorite like new like sort of like anime fight scenes. Just because it's so unique.
Yep.
And what I like about All Might's quirk is like he's not just like a strong guy like say like a Superman or like a Captain America. It's like they actually did something kind of original that I've never exactly seen anywhere else.
He's a fast boy.
That too. And speaking of quirks, like what are some of your favorite quirks on this show?
Honestly, one of my favorite quirks is Momo. Momo, I forgot her last name, but her name is Momo. She's able to create anything out of her molecules. Any like speakers, earphones, cannons,
Yeah.
weapons, anything of any kind. And
yeah.
her quirk is basically creative.
Yeah, very useful, very tactical quirk.
But the problem with that downside of that quirk, she needs to eat a lot to be able to create something. Because if she uses her quirk without having anything in her stomach, she can basically injure herself and cause her to pass out.
I don't know. For my favorite, actually, it's gonna sound a little bit fucked up, but actually, one of my favorite quirks is one of the villains from season 2, the hero killer Stain.
Oh, the one that you just taste the blood and just paralyze the person.
Yeah.
But each blood type is a different time limit.
I know, because they do need to have weaknesses, but I don't know. I just found it very cool. It's not as flashy as like One for All or Bakugo.
But you know,
actually, Bakugo is probably like my second favorite quirk.
Explosion.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom.
It's
yeah.
essentially explosion. Like he can create nitroglycerin
out of his skin.
Sweat. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, if you're a sweaty guy by natural, you just go boom. You're like a human grenade.
Yeah.
Or bomb, whatever you want to look at it.
All right. I think we should get into season 2.
Yeah, before we continue on,
Go for it.
Stain, if you have seen the anime, Stain looked like a Ninja Turtle.
Yeah, he looks like Casey Jones mixed with like Raphael.
No, not even that. That if you see his weapons, he has kunais, he got katana blades.
He's got the headband and
he
like
has
the
the
bandages around him.
Yeah, he got the kunai and the nunchucks with knives in them. And I think he didn't have a stab. He only had the kunais, the katanas, and that's it.
Yeah, no,
and then and like throwing knives as well.
Yeah, because they make videos like online where they point out like all the references to like other things and other shows in My Hero Academia, and I've never heard anybody say, "Oh, Stain is like a reference to like Raphael or something." But when I first I'm a big fan of Ninja Turtles. So when I saw it, I was like, "Oh man, this guy looks kind of badass. He looks like a ninja. He looks like a human Ninja Turtle."
Yeah, there's a lot of memes about that of Stain meeting the turtles.
Yeah. But yeah, let's get into season 2. So season 2 basically it kind of starts where season 1 left off.
With all the students being talked to the police officers and them learning from that experience.
Yeah, but soon after we get into like a sports festival arc,
which they do for every 4 years for the first years.
Yeah.
To basically sell themselves.
Exactly, and it's a very interesting arc because again, at this point of the show, Midoriya he's not a master of his quirk. He's still like learning how to use it, learning how to control it.
Because at season 1, he was only able to know how to use his quirk 100% in one part of his body. Like for example, he charges up his whole arm, he uses it, and he's out. He can't use it no more. Because he basically broke that whole part of his body.
Yeah.
For season 2, he now learned from season 1. He can control the impact of his quirk. Now he can focus his quirk into his fingers. So now he has like 10 tries to use it, plus his whole entire fist. So basically, counting that as 10 fingers, two arms and limbs left, he has like 12 tries to take down his fellow students.
Yeah.
Down in a fight. But after that, he just basically out, and he's just gonna be injuring himself more and more.
Yeah, but what's sort of cool about him during the sports festival arc is that we really see like his ingenuity and like just how clever he really is with like how because it's very obvious that like characters like Shoto Todoroki and like Bakugo, they rely heavily on their quirks, and because like both of them have like such OP quirks, they get like really cocky, and again they think like they're hot shit. But there's a scene where like it's like a foot race. They're racing to the finish line, and there's like a minefield. And Midoriya essentially like he collects like all these mines, and then he smashes them with like I think like a piece of metal.
Yeah, from the first time on the first obstacle with robots.
Yeah, and then he uses that piece of metal to essentially like fly over everybody and reach to the finish line. And then that's just like one of the scenes that made me like really love Midoriya because he's very clever. Not to bring it back to Dragon Ball, but again, I've been rewatching Dragon Ball Super on the Funimation app, and Goku in that show is really, really, really pissed me off in a couple episodes because he's so fucking stupid. It's like, goddamn, how are you even able to like get up in the morning?
Remember, the man is married.
I know. I know, but he acts like such a dumbass.
He is married. Remember that.
No, but also like in DBC, he does things to like he lets his opponent get stronger and he fights them to like 100%, even though every time that happens, there's always like, oh, they're gonna blow up the Earth, they're gonna blow up this planet, there's not gonna be any more Dragon Balls, and it's like, Goku, get your shit together.
Yeah, that I can agree with you with that. That was like very one of my pet peeves of Goku.
Yeah.
Is like, why you just kick his ass? Don't wait for him to get stronger. Just kick his ass. But nah.
But what Midoriya and Goku share is that both of them are so pure of heart, and they want to be heroes, and they want to protect.
But one person wants to take down the villains as fast as possible with the quirk, and one just wants to rescue people and fight the villains with no civilians in the way.
That's true. But also what I like about Midoriya is just like his clever. He's just very clever.
He thinks strategies before starting the fight. Bakugo starts the fight and then think of strategies.
That's true.
It's basically like Goku and Vegeta. Vegeta is so tense in fights that he doesn't relax to fight during the time. But Goku is more relaxed but not tense when he's fighting.
Yeah. But so as I agree with you there. So as we go along through season 2, so we sort of see because like the first half of like sort of like that arc, Midoriya, he's winning, he's using his smarts to beat everybody.
Not using this quirk because he knows he can't survive long.
Yeah, but then sooner or later, the other characters do tend to overwhelm Midoriya. But in a very interesting episode, and actually one of my favorite episodes,
when he saves Todoroki.
Yeah, when he's going up against Todoroki in the sports festival, and he basically breaks him. He breaks him down because Todoroki at that point was only using his ice powers, his ice quirk.
Yes, I can explain a little bit detail why. So in Todoroki's childhood, his father, Endeavor, number 2 hero in the world of this anime.
Also a huge cunt.
Exactly, but he changed it in season 4 and 5.
Okay.
I'm current with the anime, not you, so I'm just saying that right now.
All right, but go ahead.
So at that time, Todoroki's childhood, Endeavor basically tortured, somewhat trained him way too hard when he was a child.
Yeah.
So because Endeavor keeps telling that he is more superior than him, his wrongs has been fixed because of him. Because at that time, where quirks were like still new to everybody, hire people with money pays families to marry their daughters or sons to produce a powerful quirk. That's what Endeavor did to his wife. But he didn't just use her and just throw her out. He did love her at that point. He did love her when he bought her from her family. He did love her and have all the children. If I remember correctly, he got like 3 children until he got finally Shoto correct. After that, all his love toward his family just disappeared and just focused on Todoroki becoming the number 1 hero to surpass All Might. And because of that incident, his mother at the time could not look at Endeavor because he was torturing her as well, making her uncomfortable, making her feel unsafe. And when she saw Shoto's face, which had Endeavor's eyes, because one side has his mother's and one side has his father's, and when she saw,
I never noticed that.
You never noticed it?
Oh no, I never noticed that. So one eye is like a different color?
Yeah, one eye is his mother's and the other eye is his father's.
That's interesting.
So when his mother saw Shoto's eye of his father's side, she panicked. She got the hot boiling pot and tossed it on his fire side, he was fine. He was fine, but the problem was that leave him that scar. Yeah. His mother uses her quirk on him, which is he was fine because she poured on his father's side, the fire side of him.
Yeah,
he would have been fine, but because his mother uses her quirk, it left a scar.
That's interesting because she burned like the eye that looks like his dad, so he doesn't like his dad, and so oh my god, that's actually very clever like character design right there. Yeah, because like it says a lot about his character.
So like, basically Shoto was fine because on that side he was already okay with the heat on that side, but because his mother panicked thinking that she actually burned him, uses her quirk and left a degree burn on her, like because ice and fire combined creates a burn.
He's icy hot,
Yeah, that's what Bakugo gives him.
like the cream.
So at that time, for that reason, because Shoto, after his mother has been hospitalized by his father, forcefully tossed her in the hospital because he thought she was insane and injuring Shoto, because he doesn't want her to injure Shoto even more because he wants him to suppress him in All Might. At that time, Shoto has blamed his father this whole time that his mother is gone and does not want to use his fire side of his quirk, and he only uses his ice side, so he can show up his old man saying that I can use my ice side, not your fire side. Who gives shits about you? At that time, but when Midoriya and Todoroki start fighting, I'm sorry it took long. I'm getting current. I'm sorry, but because I want you guys to know the details of it. So when Midoriya and Shoto was fighting, Midoriya saw this, that his body is freezing up a lot, and he's basically injuring himself with all the ice frost covering up his body. So Midoriya starts speaking to him, telling that that's not his father's quirk, it's your quirk. Do you want to become a hero? And then after hearing that, Shoto got flashbacks of his mother saying, "You can be whatever hero you want. Doesn't matter what quirk you have. Is your very own quirk. So become the hero you wanted to be." So Shoto starts breaking down, and then he started using his fire quirk. Then Midoriya and Shoto goes one last attack at each other. Amazing graphics, amazing of the whole background of the big explosion that happens right in the middle. And after that, Shoto has won that battle, and Midoriya is out in the infirmary of his injuries.
Yeah, but it's something that you're gonna see a lot in this show, where like Midoriya breaks down like a rival, or makes or surprises like his enemy, just because of what his how his character is.
Because Midoriya wants to save people, and it gets annoying after a while because Midoriya just wants to save everyone he interacts with.
Yeah, but yeah. So let's continue on. So after that, it's basically like meanwhile, while the sports festival is happening, Tenya Ito, which is one of Midoriya's friends, his older brother, who is a pro hero, gets attacked by one of my favorite villain, possibly my favorite villain of the series, the hero killer Stain. So his brother gets attacked. He gets brutally attacked, but he doesn't die, correct?
No, he doesn't die. He did survive.
He
was just paralyzed in the waist
paralyzed. There we go. So he's no longer a hero. So he can no longer do hero work anymore.
But at that time, during the festival, Ida did leave to go see his brother after finding that out. Yeah. And he wants to seek revenge.
Yeah, so this basically sets up like the next arc of the show, which is like the internships.
Yeah, the internships of every student after the sports festival. There were pro heroes there. If you notice in the audience, there were pro heroes wearing costumes, and they were there watching which students they want to invite into their agency.
Right, and so everybody gets paired up with with a pro hero, but
the students choose who they go towards.
And but actually, Midoriya gets sent to All Might recommends that he goes to meet the person that trained him,
because no one wanted Midoriya.
Yeah, because he can't control his quirk at the moment,
and everyone thought that his quirk was unhero-like.
Yeah, and so he sends him to the person who trained him, which is a hero that goes by the name of Gran Torino.
Which at the time, All Might was terrified of this guy.
Yeah, but also one thing that I noticed about Gran Torino is he's like a really grumpy old man, and like the music that they play, like his little theme music, is very kind of like Western inspired, like cowboys and Indian.
Yeah.
And
you mentioned this when we watched it.
And his name is Gran Torino, which is the name of a Clint Eastwood movie from 2008. So I was sort of thinking, the creator, he's making a reference to like Clint Eastwood. But also, since he's like a short hero and he has like a cane, that's also a reference. And he's also like a wise old teacher. That's also a
Reminds you of
reference.
Yoda?
Yeah, it's a reference to Yoda as well. There is a couple of Star Wars references in this show, but I'll point them out when we get to it. But yeah, Gran Torino teaches Midoriya how to like concentrate like his power so that like he's only using like say 5% of his quirk throughout his whole body.
So basically, Gran Torino didn't like how All Might was teaching him, so he basically say, "All right, set him over. I'll try to teach him more than how you teaching him." So basically, Gran Torino taught Midoriya how to use his quirk 100% around his body in 5% of his power, which Midoriya kicked on and clicked in pretty quickly and was able to do it. But
Yeah,
wasn't able to move properly because he was not used to the experience.
No, but what's cool about that though is that now because a couple episodes later we're gonna see him take on the hero killer, and so what makes this kind of like great is that we can actually see Midoriya in battle for much longer, even though he's not at like say 100% of his power.
He's
at
actually
least,
using 5%, and he's
Yeah.
able to contain
but at least he has
the
like
damage limit.
Yeah, and at least he has like a fighting chance to actually do like to save the day.
Yeah. So now, because of the internship, he's able to fight longer, and he can minimize the damage he goes. So basically, 5% of his power is now fighting towards villains and training. And he can fight more longer because he's not going 100% injuring himself.
Right, and then season 2 it really starts picking up. So we see in one episode where the hero killer is meeting with the League of Villains and they're trying to recruit him, but their meeting doesn't go so well because the hero killer doesn't have like the same goals as those guys.
Because the hero killer wanted true heroes like All Might, because on his eyes everyone is a fraud hero. Because they're just using the name of a hero just to use that title to do whatever they want with the civilians they interact with, the shady business they're doing, or all that. So, but when he saw All Might, he thought All Might is a true, genuine hero. And at the time when they were fighting Stain and they defeated him, Stain risked his own life to save Midoriya.
Yeah, because
he saw he was a true hero.
Yeah, because we see like in the fight between him and Ida at the beginning, Ida is motivated by revenge. He wants to capture or like murder Stain because he wants revenge. He's not doing this for like any kind of like heroic reason.
Yeah, he wasn't being that much heroic, even though he was the man of heroicness and always acted like a hero.
But like Midoriya, he was going there to save his friend, which is more admirable than what Ida was trying to do.
But at the time, they were in an internship. They were not allowed to do that, so they were breaking a law in the hero world.
I know, but also you can't forget that Midoriya's reason for fighting the hero killer, even though he himself could have been killed, he's trying to save his friend and another hero who was injured. But Ida, being more selfish, only thinking about what he wants, only wanted revenge of his brother. He didn't want justice. It's like that quote from like The Godfather. Killing that boy is not justice. That's revenge, or something like that. I forget that quote, but yeah. So the hero killer, again, he's a very interesting villain because like his motivations are much more complex than the other villains. Because at the same time, the League of Villains has released more Nobus in the city where they're fighting the killer.
Yeah, because for that reason is because the hero killer refuses to join the League of Villains, and the League of Villains didn't like that, so they sent Nobu to cause problems for him, basically.
Right.
But and also for that they got more how you say that, more publicity.
Publicity?
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. Because now villains around the world now sees that the League of Villains are meant business. They're causing problems. They're actually organized in their minds. They think they're organized. So because of that, they actually got new recruits after that whole incident of the hero killer and everything, and they got like new recruits, like not like the grunts, but they got like top villains.
Yeah, because after that hero killer arc, we actually get like our first. Oh, we get our first scene with what's her face, the crazy bitch
Toga, yeah, the one that can has the quirk to taste blood and change into any person she drinks blood from.
The crazy bitch everybody loves, even though she's a trash character.
Oh, don't say that. Don't say that.
Oh, I'm fucking going
I
there.
don't. Okay, guys, I'm just gonna say one thing.
Okay,
whatever he says, I do not agree. All right, I do not agree with it.
The views and expressions of Jack Santiago did not reflect the views and opinions of Ryu.
That's goddamn right. Because I love Toga. She dangerous girl, but she got the nice thighs.
If All Might is anime Superman, she is anime Harley Quinn.
Oh God, don't do that. Actually, wow. Actually, thinking about it, their personalities are like the same but different.
Yeah. All right. So I mean, what else happens during season 2 after that? I'm starting to kind of confuse season 3 and season 2. What happens after the hero killer?
Well, after the hero killer, the heroes themselves
we see the other internships, and then they do like their final test of like the semester, correct?
Yeah, whether you fight the teachers.
Yeah, and then that's like kind of like the end of season 2.
Yeah.
And then but I do have to say that like that one episode where they do their final exam is another one of my favorite episodes of like the entire show, because you sort of see you sort of like they start planting sort of like seeds and start to develop the other classmates as well, and something that we see like a couple episodes earlier before that, we sort of see like All Might teaching a class, and he wants the students to race each other. And like everybody is sort of like, the not putting down Midoriya, but they were sort of like saying like, oh, Midoriya, he's just gonna hurt himself. He's gonna, he's not
basically
gonna do good.
Because when he came back from the internship, All Might wanted to like have the students race the rescue him to see what they learned, and just put it into an experience for all the students to know what each student did on the internships.
Yeah, and so just like what Midoriya does, he like really impresses like the whole class, and then
because they were expecting him to break his bones and everything.
Yeah, but so you definitely see like an improvement, and that's just like another one of those scenes that makes me like Midoriya even more.
And also Bakugo gets pissed off because he noticed that his the way Midoriya was using his quirk resembles how Bakugo uses his quirk when he flies.
Oh yeah, but that's also kind of like his fault, because like Bakugo was so like he's so good at using his quirk that he's not trying like anything new to like improve his skills. While Midoriya, he's like doing everything that he can to like improve and control his quirk better.
Because what Midoriya said, he had to. When Midoriya said in the first season, he has to work stronger, more harder than everybody else.
Exactly. And I think it's just that sort of like attitude and that sort of like theme of the show that I think really a lot of people gravitate towards, and I think that's probably like one of the reasons why people love the show so much. It's just like all the themes, like all the themes are so relevant to young people, and like young people can identify with like just like the struggles, even though like they don't have quirks or superpowers. They can relate to like the struggles of like trying to do good in school, trying to be be seen and respected and stuff like that.
Let's go beyond plus ultra. Heck yeah! So yeah, after they do their race of each student doing their own separate races, we go to the final exam, which in the beginning the students were worried how to like what was going to be in the exam, because in the hero course they had to do a written test exam, and then they had to do what was it called, physical fighting exam. They use their quirks and everything.
Yeah.
And the students didn't know if they're going to be people or something else.
Or robots.
But because of the higher classmen, telling them that it's always robots in the final exam. So the students started to relax because they knew, like, oh, it's just going to be robots. We can use our quirks normally because some quirks, the students, are fatal to humans and it can cause death, a lot of them. But some students were okay because they had understanding of their quirk and they can control it. But some students could not because they cannot control how their quirk works. But at the time, the teachers were having a conversation and saying we need to change up how we have the students because everybody knows that they fight robots in the end, and that's how they pass. But after the principal interacts with all the teachers, they came up with a new way to test the students. The teachers will be fighting the students.
That's right.
And then they kept that a secret so no one would know. And it will be a first experience for the first years, which were Midoriya's class and every class that was with them. Afterwards, but you just focus on Midoriya's class. Afterwards, each two students were paired to one teacher. I'm not gonna say the names because it's gonna be long if I name them out. So 2 students versus 1 teacher. I'm just gonna say this. Most of the students passed, some of the students lost, some of the students did pass but still lost, and that affected their the results in the end because any students that failed the test would be held back from this summer camp. And but that was a lie because as I was
they ended up just going anyways.
Yeah, they just
which
ended
I
up
call
going anyways.
bullshit.
But in season 3, they still had to do like extra credit exams to because they did failed, but they still had to bring back their credit of that what they lost from the exams they failed on.
Yeah, and so I think after this we should just start talking about season 3.
Yeah, I'm going towards it now.
Let's just give like our last thoughts on season 2. Season 2 is probably like my favorite season of the show. I love the character development of Midoriya. I like just like how this season just keeps building and building the relationships that he has with his fellow students. Him with All Might.
Classmates, not students. He's not a teacher.
Oh, yes, classmates.
He's not a teacher. He's a student as well.
Yeah, that's true.
It's classmates, fellow classmates.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a really good season. Again, it's very tightly written, and the hero killer arc is just still like one of my favorites. How do you feel about season 2?
Season 2, I really loved it. The character development, how Midoriya evolves from it, helping people around. Like he's a really helpful guy. He just wants to help. That's it. Doesn't matter if it's legal or not. He just helps.
Yeah, he's a very endearing character.
To his friends. He helps all his friends around. Even though that will break some laws, even though they did broke it, but they were pardoned by it because they knew they were doing the right thing and they had excuses to make sure the students weren't infected at all.
Yeah.
But I really like it. And also with Stain was awesome. I really like Stain because he reminded me of the Ninja Turtle because I love Ninja Turtles when I was a little kid. I love them. I had the CDs of them. I really love the Ninja Turtles. Really love Stain. And I really like the speech that Stain gave in the end when he was captured. Really loved it. I'm not going to spoil it. You guys got to watch it yourselves. It's really good. I loved it. And when all the students fight the teachers, I really like when Midoriya and Bakugo fought together to fight a teacher. I'm not going to say who, but Midoriya and Bakugo fought together, and I like how their interaction was that Bakugo swallowed up his pride to work with Midoriya. And we get a little flashback of them, how they were as kids, and yada yada yada. But I really like the character development with Bakugo because he's now accepting Midoriya a little bit as a classmate. Not as a rival yet, but as a classmate.
Right on. So let's get into season 3. So season 3, we start off by them going to the summer camp, essentially. So they go into like the summer camp, and they're being trained by a group of heroes that are all cat themed.
Which their name is Wild Wild Pussycats. And no, not the body part, the cat.
The Mighty Boss Stones.
Shut up.
You ever heard of that band, the Mighty Boss Stones?
Nope.
They're like this dumb band from like the 90s, but like like what were they again? Like the Mighty Mighty Pussycats?
Wild Pussycat.
The Wild Wild Pussycats. And then every time I hear that, I'm like, oh, the Mighty Mighty Bosstones.
My God, honestly, I love these. I love this group. I really like the Wild Wild Pussycats. I really like them. I really do.
They got a good design. They kind of remind me a little bit like when I saw them like the first time. They kind of reminded me a little bit of like the Powerpuff Girls or like Sailor Moon. Just how like they have like all of their costumes coordinated. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, and
I like how you didn't mention Power Rangers.
Oh no, that didn't even cross my mind when I was watching. I was sort of thinking I was thinking either Sailor Moon or Powerpuff Girls.
Okay.
Even though not all of them are female, there's actually one dude in the
And he is the most beautiful member of the Wild Wild Pussycats.
You're about to say he was like the most beautiful pussy ever, weren't you?
I was, so I stopped myself. But you said it, not me. So
the one guy with a dick, he has the most beautiful pussy ever.
But yeah, the guy, beautiful. When you see him, you will agree with me. He's handsome as hell. He's handsome as hell. If nobody agrees, then why you don't like him?
I don't know.
He's a handsome boy.
I just like the design overall, and actually the teacher chaperoning this sort of like summer camp along with the Pussycats is Mr. Aizawa, aka Eraserhead,
And also homeroom teacher.
Oh, her. Yeah. Oh.
He is a homeroom teacher and also in charge of them.
Yeah. And let's actually talk about him for a little bit because we kind of didn't really talk about him too much.
So I'll explain since I
ahead.
know more of the information, but then you can explain a little bit what you learned in the anime. So Eraserhead is a background hero. So he just works in the dark. He doesn't want to be publicly known. He doesn't want nobody to interact with him. He doesn't want any merch of him at all. But there are some merch of him because people seeing him when he works in the dark. And his quirk is very specific, very OP, but his downside is his eyes. So his quirk is basically anyone he stares at, he can deactivate anyone's quirk he's looking at. But the backside is that he has to have his eyes open the whole time. And his eyes gets dry really, really quickly. So he has these special goggles that take out air and keep his eyes moist a little bit longer than how he has them off.
Right, because if he didn't, he'd just be OP. But also, I do want to point out that his name is another movie reference that's not like an anime or a Japanese reference. So,
Aizawa?
Yeah, no, his superhero, his hero name,
Eraserhead.
Yeah, is Eraserhead, and Eraserhead is this kind of like dark indie horror film from 1977, directed by the famous director David Lynch. It's a dark, disgusting movie. And it fits for the character because Aizawa is dark, mysterious, and a little bit disgusting because he kind of looks like a filthy weeaboo.
No, he looks tired. He's always tired. He's always sleeping in a sleeping bag. Like every time he's talking to his students and telling them to make a decision, he just goes off, brings out a sleeping bag out of nowhere, and just go to sleep.
Yeah, but also like his hair looks like hella greasy too, and looks like he hasn't, and he has like kind of like stubble like on his face where like you tell like, oh, this man doesn't go to the store and buy razors. He just lets his face go.
Yeah, he kind of does look like that. So moving on, Eraserhead and escorts the class he is with, which is Midoriya's class 1A is what they're known as, class 1A. He escorts them and he introduced one of the members of the Wild Wild Pussycats, which has the ability to make stone creatures. But when they went there, they didn't know that the students didn't know they were going to be pushed into this resort that the Wild Wild Pussycats uses for their own training and exercises, and that's where they stayed for the summer camp to work their quirks out. So, but at the time they didn't know that. So at the time the students were pushed into this forest, and to fight these stone creatures. So each student fought the creatures in their own way. Some of them teamwork together. Some fought on their own, Bakugo, and some worked together using their quirks and combination attacks to fight the monsters at a time. And after a while, they finally make it to the resort because the teachers and the Wild Wild Pussycat, one of the members that told them where it was. And when the students got there, the teachers at the time, they made a joke saying that, oh, it will take us about 4 hours to get to the resort. But the students took it as they were talking to them, saying it will take 4 hours for them to get there. So when they finally arrived, the Wild Pussycat member that was there with them originally said that, wow, you guys got here way sooner than we expected. Like, what? You said 4 hours. We were sorry. We weren't talking about us.
Bunch of dicks.
Yeah, and at the time it was already dawn. So the students now meeting a new member of the Wild Wild Pussycats. I forgot what's her name, but her quirk is eyesight. She can notice any weakness of any enemy when she uses her quirk. And they also met another member, which has the ability to tell you anything in how you say it?
Telepathically?
Yeah, telepathically, but it's only one way. So at that time, they were introduced, and there was a kid. And this kid is a nephew.
Fucking cunt.
And this kid is a nephew of the lady that has the ability to talk to people in her minds. And when Midoriya went to go introduce himself as, hey, hello, I am Midoriya Itsuku from the Hero Course, Class 1A. The kid raised his hand, but switched his other hand to punch him right in the balls.
Like a fucking dick.
And if you guys are watching in English, Ida said something different, but in English, I know in English, I'm going to bring the English up, but in English, it was way funnier. It says, what a fiend of a child! A punch in the scrotum is unacceptable!
Exactly how I feel, but I would use much more stronger language.
Exactly.
That kid is a dickhead.
And the kid,
an unlikable dickhead.
And the kid is when Ida said that, he said he doesn't want to be around wannabe heroes, and Bakugo, surprisingly not angry, smiled and said, "What adorable brat." And Shoto says he's like a miniaturized version of you. Which Bakugo got pissed off and said, shut it half and half, and continued on their day. They ate and they went to sleep and woke up early in the morning for their actual training.
Yeah, if you can't tell already, I fucking hate this kid, Koda. He's like my least favorite character of the whole fucking show.
I don't know why. He has a background, a very tragic background.
So let's talk about this. So here's the thing. So there are certain things that movies and TV shows do that I always call bullshit on. A is when they put a cute kid character so that the audience can automatically love them and not write them.
He wasn't cute. He's angry face.
No, but I'm doing two things. But I'm trying to explain two things. So two things that I really hate from TV shows is when they just put in like a cute character or like a cute kid just for the audience to automatically love them and not have to write anything interesting about them, etc., etc. And then second of all is just because you give a character a backstory does not make them interesting.
No, but they have a backstory and it makes sense.
It makes sense, but it doesn't make the character interesting. He's still a fucking cunt.
Oh, come on. Nothing... In season 4, he was way more kinder.
Well, yes, but I don't know, because there's other little kid characters in this show. Two that we see in a movie and one that we're gonna see later on, who I like much more in terms
Can agree.
Yeah, in terms of how the character is written. This kid can go fucking jump in a lake and drown.
Oh, come on! He has a tragic.
I know,
tragic story.
But like the way that
don't be an ass.
But the way that he treats Midoriya, the way that he treats the other students, it's not endearing. And it would be one thing if like he acted like a jerk sometimes, but maybe like when he's around his aunt, maybe he's like trying to get her attention. Maybe he just wants to be loved because he lost his parents. But no,
because of the backstory, it explains why he's not with his aunt that much.
Yeah, but even still, sure, he has a backstory, but what else? It just makes him into a dick. Like, for example, you've seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, correct?
Yeah.
So Zuko is like the prime example of how a tragic backstory makes a villain sympathetic, but then later, he later doesn't become a villain anymore, like in the later along in the series.
Hey,
so that's
Zuko here.
Yeah. So that's a good example of how like a tragic backstory can inform a character's actions and give us context to his arc. This kid was just hell annoying. I was just like either bored or annoying when he was on screen. He's not endearing. We're not
gonna argue this anymore. I'm just gonna say he has a tragic backstory. We're not gonna explain anything else. You guys gotta watch it yourselves and you put your own opinion. For me, I like the kid because I understand tragic backstory and all that, and then he's trying to overcome it and all that, but he can't because he doesn't understand what his parents' last words he told them. Not his aunt told him something about you will know the feeling of a hero that comes rescuing you, and you gotta watch it on your own to understand what we're talking about. You may have the same opinion of me, or you may have the same opinion of my co-host here. How he hates the kid, or me, how I like the kid, how he's trying to overcome the tragic past he had.
Yuck.
All right, so moving on. So afterwards, the kids woke up the next day. We're not gonna talk about any other details before they went to sleep. The next day, Aizawa wakes up the class early in the morning, like around 6ish or 5 a.m. around that time.
Pretty early.
Yeah, pretty early. Normal or no, not normal wake up time for any young teenager that should wake up on that time. So Aizawa basically brought him out and told one of the students to use their quirk on a ball, like they did on the first season, which we haven't mentioned at all because we want you to watch it on your own time and your own opinion, how you think of it. And so they use it, and they were expecting to be more improved because they fought villains, they fought a lot, and they had a lot of experience in their belt. But their quirk was not experienced. So when they used their quirk, the results they had the first time they used it came out the same, but a little bit different. And then after everyone was shocked, the teacher revealed that this is what that's why you're here in training camp, the summer camp, to train your quirk fully. So, and then we come into a next scene of another class coming in, which is known as Class B.
Yeah.
And they come in to do the same thing, train with their quirks. And we see in the scene of every student in Class 1A training their quirks. You see people running, you see them working out their bodies, you see them eating stuff and making materials or using their quirks. You see people using their quirks that makes them nauseous. Quirks that they had to go over their limits. Quirks that they had to continue using it over and over and over again. And you see a whole lot of action, a whole lot of things going on a lot at once. And you see like every student is like near each other, and they make it in a beautiful way in the camera angles they have. Like you see a student doing their quirks over there, and then you cut it to another scene. You can see the students in the background, and you gives it that the aura that they're working together, even though they're separated, and it gives that thrive of they actually want to improve and working. And then when class B showed up, they saw that it was hell, and they all like passed out, going, "That's way too much." And then after that, it goes on the day of them cooking their meals after they're finished training, cooking the meals, living it on, yada, yada, yada. They go on their own separate talks, and Deku noticed Koda, which we're not going to mention anymore, no more arguments, all right? All right, no more arguments.
Okay.
We saw Koda walking on his own, and Deku wants to go save him, but Shoto stopped him, saying it's annoying. Stop that. And Deku's like, okay.
Which is kind of true because that's almost like a little meta moment almost.
Yeah.
Because in later seasons, Midoriya does get a little bit annoying on how much he wants to save people.
Yeah, it gets a little bit annoying, but we know his annoyance is in a good place. So after
Still annoying though.
Yeah, still annoying though. So after they finish eating, making the meals and eat and all that, they did a test of courage, which of course every anime has to have like some sort of courage test. For this, it's a test of courage in the night. Class A versus Class B. Class B scares Class A and then vice versa afterwards. And the one who scares the class the loudest or the best wins, basically. But the students that failed the X-ray exams and the fight with the teachers were not allowed to, and they were told to learn more.
Yeah.
And which some of the characters were shocked and say, "Are you kidding me?" And wanted to do the test of courage. But Aizawa, not giving no shits, took them anyways and sent them to the classroom to learn.
But how does everything go to hell?
Oh, everything go to hell. It starts with, well, we haven't mentioned this in the beginning, but when the students of Class 1A and Class B went to the summer camp, the League of Villains already recruited new members. Mm-hmm. But these members were temporary, because they want to see who survives and who will stay. And the ones that survive will become a full-fledged member. And the ones that did not will be discarded as weak. So at that time, there were, I think, 10 of them or 7 of them that showed up.
I don't know. I just remember that there was a lot, and a lot of them actually died.
No, they got defeated.
Or defeated, yeah.
Because heroes don't kill.
But some of them we don't really see after like season 3.
Yeah, because those at that time they had already been sent as full-fledged members of the League of Villains.
All right, but continue on.
So in the beginning, when the classes were in the summer camp, villains had found out where they were at. So the League of Villains had made a group to wait for the villains, because they contact villains, said, "Hey, we give you an opportunity to join our group. Come to this location, and if you passed, you can join us," or something like that. I don't know, but they were just starting gathering together at that one spot. And the person that wanted to go and start killing is actually a muscle type villain that actually killed Koda's parents, which we will not talk about Koda because we will have an argument and we're gonna be sitting here for an hour. So
you should have fucking murdered him. Finish the job.
Stop it. No.
Finish him.
We're not continuing.
Fatality.
No, we're not continuing. Stop. We're not continuing. No more, because we're gonna be here for an hour. Or 2. So the muscle guy wanted to go and just kill them, but the person who took in charge, has a fire type ability, which, if you guys don't know, I do know who he truly is, but my co-host doesn't, so I don't want to spoil for him because I want him to find out. I want to see his face, because my reaction was like, guess. Shit.
To quote Grandpa Simpson, "That's your daddy."
No.
Okay, then I got nothing.
Like, we were close of relations, but you were off. So he said that no, was wait for everyone else, and we will attack. Let them know that their peace is on our hands, and we can cause chaos wherever we please. So when they were having the test of courage, the villains decided that it's the time to attack. So they attack. Chaos starts with fires, then smoke coming out of nowhere, and villains using their quirks to attack the students directly. And at that time, they had a kill list and capture list. The kill list at that time was Midoriya, when we found out. And the capture list was Bakugo. Because when the sports festival was happening, the villains thought that Bakugo would be a good villain. So they wanted to capture him and convince him to join them. But at that time, that's what they were planning. But so some events happened. Midoriya went to go save Koda from the mud because the hero, the ant, didn't know where he was and there were villains around. So Midoriya knew where he was because he followed Koda once, and he knows where he is. So Midoriya goes saves him, fought the villain that was there, and almost died. But Koda did help Midoriya by distracting him a little bit because he never used his quirk because of his tragic past, which we're not going to go on to it. And Midoriya won the battle, but got severely injured. His left arm totally broken. His right arm totally bruised for overusing his quirk, and he was going on fumes. So he had a limited time to bring Koda and help other students. After defeating the Muscle guy, the Muscle guy revealed information of the capture list, not the kill list yet. But during the episode, one of the villains did mention of Midoriya being in the kill list, but Bakugo being in the capture list. So Midoriya fought the villain, find Aizawa. Aizawa told Midoriya specific instructions to tell the heroes of the Wild Wild Pussycats. So Midoriya followed the instructions.
The mighty Boss Tones.
Shut up. And when Midoriya found the Wild Wild Pussycats, one of the Pussycats was about to get attacked by a big blade, one of the villains called Splinter. No, not Master Splinter, but his name is Splinter. And he has sword, and he was like basically a disciple, one of the follow the footsteps of Stain. So,
Shit.
So, when Midoriya broke his weapon, he told the Wild Wild Pussycats that can tell people telepathically towards everyone that the villains are attacking, and under the name of Aizawa the pro hero, Eraserhead, you are allowed to use your quirks in self-defense. So now all the students are now able to defend themselves. Because at the time, the students were unable to fight because they were not allowed to because legal reasons that happened in season 2. If you guys remember, if you guys watched it, and you understand. So, during that time, Midoriya wanted to go save Kacchan, which is Bakugo Katsuki, is the capture list. When Midoriya was
my best friend.
So, at that time, Midoriya was running to go find him. But one of the villains mentioned that, wait, how did he get this information? So that big boom they heard was actually the muscle guy. And he lost towards a child. And he says, all right, we got to kill him. And then Splinter saved Midoriya, like how Stain saved Midoriya in the first place. Because Splinter wanted to follow in Stain's footsteps. And he says that I'm following the roles of Stain. Mm-hmm. He saved Midoriya, so that means he is a true hero, and I will protect that child how Stain protected him. But because they were arguing, saying that he was in the kill list, we should have just killed him there and now when I had the chance. They were distracted, and the Wild Pussycats had a chance to take him down and neutralizing them.
You know, it's funny. It's
for
funny.
Temporarily.
You know, it's funny when you said like true hero in the Lego Star Wars games. When you collect like all the pieces that you find like in the levels, it gives you like the on the top of the screen it says you're a true Jedi. If they ever did like a My Hero Academia Lego, they should put that
you're a true hero. Yeah, that would be cool. So after defeating the villains, the Wild Pussycat that had the power to tell everybody told them that the Bakugo is not allowed to fight, which Bakugo got pissed off because he thinks that Deku was the reason why he was unable to fight, but because he was in the capture list, the students at that time that was near Bakugo worked together to protect him, but failed because they got captured. They chased them. They were about to leave. They were almost able to save them, and before they could leave, one of the quirks that was able to compress people into little orbs to be able to capture them more easier.
Yeah.
He releases his quirk.
The top hat villain.
Yeah, the top one. I forgot his name.
Yeah,
but
me
his
too.
Quirk,
But
his quirk is compressed. So, afterwards, he releases his quirk to find out because Midoriya's group got one of the orbs and the villains got one of the orbs. So, to make sure they got the right target, which is Bakugo, they told him to release his quirk, which he says, fine. Whatever, if we didn't get it, it's not my fault. So he released his quirk, which Midoriya's group got Tomorori. I forgot what's his name, but I think that's his name. I'm sorry if I got it wrong. Is the one with Dark Shadow.
Oh. Oh yeah.
Because
I forget
in-
his name too. I just call him Dark Falco,
Dark Shadow, his quirk.
but he looks like Falco from Star Fox.
Yeah, understandable. And the villains actually did capture Bakugo.
Not Bakugo.
So before Midoriya saw this, wanted to go save him, could not, and Bakugo told him to step off, don't come rescue me.
A fucking
And
dick.
that ends that whole arc.
It's funny every time he says like "Don't fucking come for me." Like, bruh, what if they spread your booty cheeks? You're still not gonna want people to come save you? They're gonna run a train on you. They're gonna run a train on you, Bakugo. Freaking Kanchan. You don't want no help? Or maybe he just likes it that way.
Oh my god, no, stop saying that. Alright, so
Yeah, he's a minor. Yeah, I shouldn't say that.
yeah, exactly. That's why I say you should.
But they're villains. They're villains, so I wouldn't put them past that.
Oh yeah, true. So after the incident, all the students that were injured at that time went to the hospital, and the students that were not injured went back home for safety reasons. And after
Not for safety reasons.
oh my god, shut up. And then the heroes at the time in UA heard of this news actually. The All Might was the one that actually took a toll on him because he couldn't save him because he was having a relaxing day in the bath. And he couldn't do anything to help. But afterwards, going in too much in detail, afterwards, Midoriya woke up from his injury. Everyone meet up in Midoriya's room, making a plan to go save Bakugo. Some of them agreed, some of them didn't. So some of them went to go save Bakugo, and the one that actually got injured also as well in the hospital, Momo, actually put in a tracker on one of the villains, which was a Nobu. Because he brought a Nobu to cause more problems and more deaths, but no one died. Luckily, no one died. Only injuries.
Oh, and then we're gonna come up to like a scene which is like one of my like favorite like say bits of comedy. They go to like a high-end boutique, and they buy like expensive clothes so that they could look like douchebag club kids.
Yeah, so basically, if you're watching in the sub or dub version, it's basically the same thing, but in English it was funnier because you're looking at me? Like, nah, man, you gotta pull out your chin. Huh? You're looking at me? And then here comes
But you know what?
Ida. No, hold on. Here comes Ida saying, we're just some delinquent hooligans looking for hot chicks with boobs.
Exactly. Like the reason why they do this is so that they can disguise themselves, but they're just bringing more attention to themselves.
Exactly. Which is funny and hilarious. But moving on, at the time when the students were trying to find Bakugo, the heroes actually really found where Bakugo was held at, and the students went to a different location where the Nomu was held at, in a facility known to be closed. No one owns it. There's no specific names in it because the hero said it was just a facility, abandoned facility, and all that. So the students actually followed the wrong area. And the heroes actually found Bakugo, and he did a little skit saying a pizza area, saying I forgot the name of it, pizzeria, and the villains at that time releases Bakugo, trying to convince Bakugo to join their league, and then because of the distraction, the heroes came in and contained all the villains at once. So all the League of Villains has been all captured and knocked out. And Bakugo has been saved, but not really. The main Jefe, the big dog of the underground, the darkness of all villains, the true Jefe of all despise of heroism came in play.
The fucking Darth Vader of the series.
Exactly. All for one. The big Jefe of the villains. The dark era of the villains.
Notice how I called him Darth Vader also because like the way that he's designed, he has like this kind of like bald, scrunched up, veiny head, which reminds me of like that one scene from The Empire Strikes Back where we see
Vader's first head.
Yeah, Vader putting on his helmet. It kind of reminded me of that. So that's probably like another Star Wars reference in the show.
So yeah, at that time, the big Jefe showed up, brought the League of Villains in, saving them and bringing Bakugo, because at that time he was like a mentor towards the actual leader of the League of Villains, Shigaraki. And Shigaraki made a mistake and said, "Don't worry, you made a mistake. You can work again. You can bring it back together." And basically being a mentor, because he also said, "I brought Bakugo because you want him in your group, right? Well, here he is. I brought him with you. Now convince him in your group. Continue on." So basically telling him to continue on doing villain acts. Which All Might, at the time when Bakugo was recaptured again, he does a big yell like, "No!" It was very dramatic. I can't yell because my throat is gonna hurt. So after that, All Might finds the villain, the big Hefe villain. They fought at each other, one for all versus all for one, and going all out, fighting each other, having conversations.
Yeah,
and
All Might's last stand, essentially.
yeah, basically All Might's last stand, the beginning of the end of the beginning. So at the time, Bakugo was at the scene, and Bakugo and All Might could not fight properly. So, and also because Midoriya and everyone else was at the site of the Nobu, which the big Hefe brought everyone in and destroyed the whole area.
Yeah.
So they came up with an idea to rescue Bakugo and also make sure All Might is able to fight properly, because All Might was holding back because he didn't want to hurt Bakugo.
Their plan was pretty ingenious too. I really like their plan, how they saved Bakugo, and then it leads us on to the last final battle between All Might and All for One, and again, like, this is probably like my favorite sort of thing that happens in season 3. And this is probably like one of the most like emotional and like memorable parts of like the entire series, is sort of like All Might's like last, like I call it All Might's last stand / retirement. So tell us how All Might conquers All for One.
So how All Might finally won the battle is, at the time, All Might has already passed on the quirk to Midoriya. So Midoriya now has the full power, but All Might was still holding a fragment, a small ember of the flame of that quirk, because he didn't want Midoriya to have the full power yet and have the intention on him yet. But because of the situation, he finally let go of trying to maintain that ember and release it in one giant flame, and basically use his last power of the ember of the quirk and did his final smash, which he calls it United States of Smash.
Yeah, because like he has like California Smash, Delaware, Texas, so this is sort of like
all of the smash, all 50 states together, all of his smashes in one, which it did cause a giant typhoon, moved a lot of buildings around, and basically caused a lot of damage in his part. But because they already were destroyed, they just moved giant rumbles around. And after that, All Might defeated the villain, took his final stand, lifted his fist up, and said that he has won the battle. But because of that, he was forced to go in retirement, because his secret is out already. His quirk is no longer within him anymore, and he can no longer do hero work, which caused Midoriya to cry a lot, because when All Might was standing there...
When does he never cry?
No, but this one was different.
No, this one was actually earned.
Yes.
Because it was a very emotional scene. The other ones was just him being a little bitch.
Yes. So I'm not going to spoil anything else. I want you guys to watch it on your own to experience it. But I'm just saying that Midoriya cried because of it. And Bakugo noticed something. And he was putting puzzle pieces together from season 1, which you guys will watch on your own, not spoiling anything else. I want you guys to have like the full experience of puzzling things together and everything like that. So afterwards, All Might has retired fully, and before after the whole fight, he met with Midoriya again in the place that they trained at, and told them that he no longer has the fuel in him. Everything now, he will fully concentrate in training him 100%, It's because he's no longer a hero.
Yeah.
Because the main reason why he wasn't able to properly train
Yeah.
Midoriya is because he was a hero.
Yeah, so like the only thing that he can do now is just like pass down the torch to him.
Basically, teach everything he knew towards Midoriya.
Yeah, because that's like the most valuable thing that he can do now. Yeah, I really liked that episode. Well, that whole like arc. That's probably like my favorite thing of season 3, because afterwards, season 3 is mostly just gonna comprise of like the heroes getting like sorry, excuse me, scratchy throat. Going into like getting their hero licenses and also
working with their ultimate moves.
Yeah, choosing their ultimate moves, and also like moving into the dorms that the school has set up for them.
Yeah, because of the League of Villains continuing on keep breaking into UA. They want to make sure the students are now more safe there.
Yeah.
Because if they're outside, their families can also be attacked.
Exactly.
So they want the students to be in here because the students are targeted. They want to make sure that if they're in a safe spot, and also the family will not be involved when they do go after the students.
Yeah. So let's briefly talk about the rest of the arcs of season 3, not spend too much time.
So here's a speed run, guys. Season 3, after the big fight, they work on their quirks for ultimate moves to be able to give an edge in their battles. After they learn how to basically do an ultimate move, they work themselves to get their license. Hero licenses is for basically telling them when to be able to fight in the public and not be in trouble. But they're only temporary because they're just hero licenses for students. So they be able to work with pro heroes in the real world when they go out to do internships again in the future. And during that time, the students met with other class.
Oh shit!
Oh shit! What was that? So the students work together. The students work together, and some students did not work together to fight the other schools. They were competing against.
So essentially, like what happened in like the license test is so all the schools that signed up to take the test have to fight each other. But twist, what a twist! All of the schools started ganging up on UA
because of the festival.
Exactly. So because they wanted to take down the big dogs, but
because they also know their quirks.
Yeah, that's true. But the thing about it is like a lot of them the thing that made Class 1A stand out from the other schools is that they've actually had like experience, like actual life and death experience,
combat skills as well.
Yeah, fighting villains. So they had the upper hand on all those delusional cunts.
So now I'm bringing into it because you guys gotta watch it your own.
Yeah.
And your own time, which is bringing our own opinion in this. So afterwards, each student fought their own ways. They passed. So all the students in Class 1A passed. Some students did not, which in the beginning what they said, not all of you will pass.
Mm-hmm.
So afterwards, they passed the first test. Then the second test were rescuing people.
Correct.
So, again, the students went to in different groups to rescue the civilians, which they wanted to be in danger. Which I forgot what was their actual name. The company they were under as, but they will actually put themselves in risk and endangerment for this kind of training, because they were built for this. They want to be rescued. So, and because they were being tested, they give out points saying, "Oh, hey, this student did something bad. Oh, hey, this student did this wrong. Hey, this student did this one wrong. Hey, this student did that." So basically, they're basically like scores of monitoring each student, because they're not allowed to tell them how to do it. They have to just experience what they do.
Yeah. So which is actually pretty interesting that they do the rescue portion, and this is something that's like I think true about like say like a superhero. It's not just about like how much ass you can kick. It's also like, can you actually save the day?
Exactly. So afterwards, they were rescuing people pretty decently, and then villains came out, which not real villains, a hero acting as a villain. So this hero came out and caused problems, as a villain would do in a rescue situation. So it's basically they're teaching the students how to rescue and also how to defend the civilians from villains, to give them like a little life experience of how the real world will work. Sometimes it will go like this, sometimes it will go that, or sometimes it's just gonna go smoothly. So afterwards, they fought two heroes that were and from different schools, had a little argument because they had a little pass of what one of each other, which not going into detail. And then when Midoriya kicked in to snap them back into game, saying, "What the hell are you guys doing? We're here rescuing. Stop fighting each other," and snap them both back to work together to defeat this hero. And then before they can even Midoriya can even continue fighting, the exam ends, and all the students have been told to assemble together to get their final scores. Which, ironically, the top two students in Class A failed. Which
Yeah.
we're not gonna mention. They have to watch it on their own.
Yeah.
Because in the season 1, 2, and 3, they mention who are the top students. So one of the two top students failed, and were given the opportunity to take a retake.
Yeah.
Because since All Might has retired, they now need more heroes. Because all the heroes currently were too relaxed.
Mm-hmm.
Because All Might took care of everything. All the heroes currently are too relaxed. So now they want to fix that with the current heroes that are training.
Yeah, and so yeah, that was a pretty interesting arc. But the one thing about season 3 that I definitely want to talk about is the rematch between Bakugo and Deku. So we didn't really go into this when we were talking about season 1, but in season 1, Kacchan and Deku have like their first like sort of like actual combat encounter. And so it's during like a class exercise, but Bakugo kind of takes it too far, and he just wants to fucking hurt Midoriya. But Midoriya, again, using his smarts and using like his training from All Might, he's able to like actually hold his own against Kacchan, and he's actually not, and he doesn't use
correction. He didn't learn that from All Might. He used his notebooks.
Well, yeah, he learned from like his notebook, so he's able to like use some martial arts, and then he uses what he knows about how Kacchan fights, how he can dodge his attacks, and then finally it leads up to Midoriya finally using his quirk and creating like a wind pressure to help him and Uraraka win the exercise. But here in season 3, Midoriya is much more experienced in combat, and he knows to control his quirk a little bit better. And we actually get to see them actually go for round 2. And the fight's a little bit more exciting because they're actually, trading blows with each other.
And at that time, after the battle, they now see each other as rivals.
Yeah, and so I thought when I first saw that episode, I really thought that Midoriya was gonna beat Bakugo once again, but because he does have to like sort of hold back his quirk, he's not able to get like the upper hand on Kacchan just yet. So round 2 goes to Bakugo.
And then to continue on, there's another episode of we more in contact of the League of Villains hitting for season 3, but we're not gonna go in details because we don't want to spoil anything else.
And yeah, so season 2, season 3 kind of ends with us meeting like three upperclassmen that are going to be big part of season 4 later on. And that's kind of how like season 3 sort of ends. So let's just finish off season 3 with like our thoughts and feelings about it.
Amazing! It was fucking amazing. I loved it. The fights, the struggles, the danger, the action scenes, the mentor and student. Loved it all. Yeah,
there's definitely parts that I really, really enjoy about season 3, like All Might's last stand, how Midoriya and his classmates saved Bakugo, the license training the license test was actually pretty fascinating to watch. It's pretty fascinating to watch. I also it was pretty fascinating. My biggest problem with season 3, why I don't like season 3 as much as season 2, is that I just felt like season 3 was kind of bloated. I just felt that too much happened. Like a lot of things happened in the season, but I don't know. I feel kind of like, like I felt like, the summer camp arc was a few episodes too long. They could have made that a little bit shorter. Also maybe like the training for like the license, or like doing the license test, that could have been maybe an episode or two shorter, stuff like that. It just felt a little bit bloated to me, and the pacing felt a little bit slower in this one, where I felt like in season 1 and season 2 the pacing was a little bit more tighter. So this one did feel a little bit more bloated to me, but I still enjoy parts of it. Like again, All Might's Last Stand, and Kacchan and Deku round 2. I really enjoy that. I still like it. I don't like it as much as season 2. I think season 2 is still my favorite.
All right. So now we're gonna go on with season 4, but this one we're not gonna go into much detail because some of the episodes are super long, and we're just gonna go on what's happening at the current moment. So we're gonna go on with season 4. So season 4 starts off Mr. Aizawa giving out students to look for internship again, but they had to put in some limits because of the because the League of Villains incidents caused way too much eyes on UA, and basically saying that UA must not be trusted with the students, in which they're trying to prove them wrong, saying that we can be trusted with the students. So only the students were able to only join agencies that had a high successful rate in capturing villains and solving problems.
Mm-hmm.
So which like my co-host said, in season 3 we're introduced of the big 3, the best 3 students in class U and UA high school.
Yeah.
So in UA's Midoriya talks with Mario to talk to All Might's previous sidekick, Night Eye. And they talked and agreed to introduce Midoriya to Night Eye, but All Might did not want to interact with him.
And just a little thing about like Mirio and Night Eye, when they mentioned that we were gonna meet like All Might's like kind of like his former sidekick, I was like, I don't know what I was thinking. I was thinking he was gonna be like a Robin type character. Like he was gonna be like, oh shucks, holy macaroni, All Might. But no, he was actually I was actually surprised of how they handled his character. And Mirio too, I remember you told me Mirio kind of looks like Ness and Lucas from Super Smash Brothers. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to add one more reference. He also kind of looks like this French comic book character named Tintin.
Yeah, Tintin as well. Tintin as well.
Yeah, and I actually like his design. He's like a buff Lucas, or like a buff Tintin.
So yeah. So afterwards, also some students in class 1A also talked to one of the members of the Big 3. And we're not going to go into details with that because it would be too long. Mm-hmm. So we're just going to focus on with Midoriya, because Midoriya is the one that interacts more with actions and go on with the story. So Midoriya interacts with Night Eye, and with Night Eye was talking with his sidekick, Bubble Girl, which a little known fact, Bubble Girl was actually a commission a prize winner, where the creator of Hero Academia had let a chance of a fan to have one of their characters into Hero Academia, which one of them did won that competition and had his character known as Bubble Girl in the anime, which a lot of controversy happened when the episode of when Deku meets the Night Eye, because Night Eye was tickling Bubble Girl because she wasn't funny enough. Because his whole brief was, You had to be funny when giving out a report. You had to be funny when fighting a villain. You gotta
Even
be
though he's, like-
hilarious.
even though he's like one of the most serious stone-faced characters of the whole series.
Exactly, because All Might was a funny guy when he was rescuing people because he wants, since that he wanted and people of his agency to be exactly like that. And when you see it, he is also a big All Might fan as well, like Deku.
Yeah, he has a big man crush on All Might. He has a big ass boner for the number one hero.
Continue on. After that, Midoriya tried to do his first impression. After failing to make him laugh, they actually had a All Might quiz at each other, which they have a big conversation, yada yada yada. And then Night Eyes would accept him, but he did not approve of All Might's choice of giving him the one for all ability, the quirk. All right, let's get it on. So afterwards, Midoriya goes to Night Eye's agency. Night Eye accepts him after doing a certain challenge. After a while, Night Eye revealed to Midoriya and Mario that they were doing a secret investigation of on a group called the Igishiraki group, which does legal drugs in the black market.
And they also wear like plague doctors masks.
Exactly. So afterwards, they talk to all their villains and talk to all their heroes, and all other pro heroes as well, which also involves with the Big Three and some classmates of Midoriya. And they had a big meeting, and finding out after collecting information together and talking together, they finally figured out that Shigaragi's using a little girl for these new drugs to erase people's quirks. So after finding that out, Midoriya and Mario were decimated because they were interacting with this girl.
They could have saved her.
So after a while, they worked together to be ready up to go save this girl when the heroes were ready to pinpoint a location the little girl is likely to be at. After a while, they figured it out. They found the hideout, the main house of the Shigaraki group, and they had a big battle. And the League of Villains were likely to be with them because one of their hero spies found out that the League of Villains interacted with the Shigaraki group. So Eraserhead also went with them because if the League of Villains were there, they want Midoriya and the rest of his class to leave immediately. Mm-hmm. But during the whole operation, they go in, they find the secret passageway that Night Eye found out himself. They go through secret passage with a lot of villains try to stall them. Some heroes stay behind to take down villains. Some got separated and fought villains. And overall, Mirio went forward to go save her to stall time, which he did and succeed, but at a cost. He lost his quirk.
Yeah, he gets shot with like a dart or like a needle that has this
finished product of the erasing quirk.
Yeah, this chemical that can erase people's quirks. But then soon after that, Midoriya busts in to take down the villain. So what happens there? How does he defeat the villain?
So Midoriya wasn't strong enough, and Night Eye used his ability on Midoriya, saying that he will die.
Yeah.
So, but Midoriya always told him once before he will twist that future. So afterwards, Midoriya fought the Shigaraki head group, and they had little blows. Midoriya was about to lose, and the Shigaraki group, with the leader of the Shigaraki, took Eri, which the little girl's name is, took her back, was about to escape, but Midoriya went to rescue. The little girl noticed that none of this would stop until they rescued me, so she took the League of Fate towards Midoriya, and she was using her quirk because she didn't know how to stop it because no one taught her yet. So Midoriya, carrying Eri, used his quirk and was able to use it 100% because of Eri using her quirk on him. After a while, he knows that, and he took that into his advantage to fight the head group of the Shigaraki. They had a big battle, and Midoriya won over the battle. And because of Eri behind him, unable to control her quirk, he was about to die. But I want you to know why he was about to die on your own time when you watch the anime on your own. So Eraserhead was there at the time, but paralyzed. But he was brought up to save Midoriya because Eraserhead knew something was going to happen. So he
erases her quirk
to save Midoriya and her. Afterwards, the whole battle has ended. The head of the Shigaraki group has been captured and was sent to go to prison. And everyone that was injured went to the hospital. And that's how it ends. How it ends. Then we go back to school, where a school festival was going to happen. If you guys don't know what a school festival is, it's basically Japan's way of making a festival for students to make restaurants, stands, plays, and whatever. So class 1A,
they're gonna do a music performance.
Yeah, but the rest of the students thought that they were just doing that just for themselves because they blame class A for how UA is being treated now, which you will find that out when you watch it on your own.
So fucking stupid because they fucking save the day every single time. But never mind. Keep going.
Yeah. So they decided to do a play. After Bakugo say certain words, they changed their mind to change the song for everyone in the school. Afterwards, Midoriya, after they do the training and everything, they found out Eri was there because they wanted Eri to come in because she was still holding that darkness of the Shigaraki group overlapping her, and they want her to be happy because she never smiled before. Which in the anime, everyone was waiting for this, for Eri's animation of her smiling, which my co-host disagreed with that. He thought it was bullshit. So we're gonna continue on. So after doing the whole play, doing their trainings, everything, they finally had the final product. They did the musical. Eri finally smiled. Everyone was happy. I was happy. Everything was awesome. But before
everything is awesome.
Exactly. So before Midoriya went out to get a new rope and they fought a villain. Midoriya won.
Which is actually a pretty interesting villain.
Exactly, yeah. But Midoriya actually won, and the villain was captured. And that's how it ends. Midoriya returned, and then they did the musical. Afterwards, they enjoyed themselves in the festival. Eri was happy when Midoriya got him a candy apple because she likes sweet things and apples.
Ooh.
And after that, and it ended ended in a high note with Endeavor finally becoming number one hero.
Yeah, it ends up at a pretty high note.
Yeah, because at the time, Endeavor didn't know how to become number one hero, even though he was thriving for it. He didn't know how to be one this whole time. And here's a character development moment of him talking to All Might, talking to him, thinking of himself, and then he figured out that he needs to be more kinder and more supportive of his sons.
Yeah.
And the family that he'd been driven off himself. And then afterwards, after being announced number one hero, Anomu attacked, and he took his opportunity to be known as his first stand of being number one, which he got beaten up pretty badly by the Nomu, but stand right back up, defeating the Nomu, and rise his opposite hand, like how All Might rise his right hand. Endeavor rise his left hand to be different of All Might, but still resembling All Might's stand of the big villain. And that's how it ends the anime. Endeavor's final stand in his new beginning.
All right, so season 4. Season 4, I think, is a great improvement over season 3. The story is much more tighter. It flows a bit better, and I would definitely say if I were to rank the seasons as my favorites, season 2 would be my favorite, then season 1, season 4, and then season 3. But the reason why season 4, if it weren't for certain things, season 4 and season 2 might be a little bit tied. What I liked about I liked the new characters that we were introduced. I did enjoy Mirio quite a bit. I enjoyed Night Eye. I thought the villains had an interesting design to them, and that their motivations and their evil plot was very sinister. So I did want the heroes to beat their asses. But there was a couple of things. So one thing was that Night Eye reveals to Midoriya that originally Mirio was the main candidate to inherit all for one. Oh no, one for all. And then I was like, oh wow, that's interesting. How's this gonna affect his? I know, but they kind of don't. They kind of say like they don't really resolve that for the end. But also, the thing about Eri is a good character. She's definitely probably like my favorite of like the kid characters that we meet.
Can
the
agree.
show. The only thing I didn't kind of like about this season is that the way that Midoriya and Mirio acted was a bit corny to me. Because like remember like when Bakugo tells Midoriya stop trying to save everybody, it's annoying.
Yeah.
This is where it starts getting annoying because in season 2 and then season 3, Midoriya starts to act a little bit more heroic, a little bit more badass. But in this one he kind of acts like I don't know, he kind of acts really corny, really cheesy.
Nah, I thought it was awesome. Everything was awesome.
Because like I don't know, because like at the end of the season when they were like, oh, we got to get Eri to smile, and I was just thinking, all right, this is where the season's gonna end. We're waiting for some kid to smile. All right, I guess.
Well, it didn't end it like that.
I know, but
the last 2 episodes are actually them training. But
yeah, but that's sort of like the ending of sort of like Midoriya's story arc in this final season, and like in this final season, this 4th season. But the festival, even though like they were just like trying to get Eri to smile, I had a hell of a time watching the the festival episode, mostly because there was these 2 characters who kept criticizing Class 1A, but one of the characters looked like he looks like a movie director, Quentin Tarantino. So if you guys don't know how Quentin Tarantino looks, so Quentin Tarantino, he usually likes he's a movie director and he has slick black hair. He likes to comb his hair like really slick back, kind of like a 1950s style, and he has a big ass chin. And this character, he has that kind of like 1950s hair, and he has a really really pointy chin. And every time they would cut to him, I would be like, my God, this guy looks like fucking Quentin Tarantino. Why the fuck are they getting criticized by Quentin Tarantino? Why the fuck do they keep cutting back to this guy? I don't want to hear what this guy has to fucking say. He probably has a foot fetish. This guy has a foot fetish.
that's what what my co-host telling me about. He has a foot fetish. He's well known for having a foot fetish.
I don't have a fucking foot fetish.
And him having scenes of female feet always in his movies.
Yeah, so Quentin Tarantino, he's very famous for in his movies, he always has a shot of women's feet. And I'm just here thinking like, what the fuck are we listening to this guy? He has a fucking foot fetish. So yeah, season 4 I think is a great improvement over season 3. There's just like some corny bits, and I think there's some episodes that move a little bit slow, but overall it's a good season. My 3rd favorite out of the 4 that I've seen so far.
For my part, I really love season 4 because of the character development on Endeavor, Shoto's father.
That's true. He does soften up a little bit.
Yes, because during the season 1, 2, and 3, Endeavor never shows compassion towards his sons, except for succeed me, become number 1. But since he now become like a temporary number 1 hero, he's now seeing things in a different light, and he wants to support his son and be more friendlier. But since his son sees him as a dickwad, Shoto does not accept him quite at that moment. But when you see a little bit of it, you see that Shoto softens up as well as how Endeavor. And I am current with season 5 in the anime.
Don't worry, we'll get to it at a later date.
Yeah, we will get to it in a later date. But in the manga, in the anime, we've seen in the scene that Endeavor tries to become more friendly with his family, having a gathering together and eating together. But it didn't end up well. But he is trying. He is trying to change. And I wonder what will happen in the future. How it will end.
All right, so let's give our final thoughts on just like the whole series as a whole.
I like it. I really like it.
I really like it too. This is like my first favorite anime in like a long time. So just a little bit of a background for me. When I was younger, I used to watch a lot of Toonami, the anime block on Cartoon Network.
Which is known as Adult Swim.
Well, now it's on Adult Swim, but back then it was on Cartoon Network. So I watched Yu Yu Hakusho,
Naruto,
not so much Naruto, Yu-Gi-Oh, Dragon Ball, and so One Piece. So that was like sort of my era. After I got like into high school, I stopped watching like anime and I started focusing mostly on like classic films. And so I've been recommended My Hero Academia by so many people. So this is like my first favorite show in a long time. Anime.
And then he met me, and then we worked, and then I trying to convert him into a weeb.
And I really like it because I really like shonen shows with like a lot of action and a lot of powers. So definitely thumbs up for me. I really enjoy the show.
Me, as a fan, I really love it. I cannot wait until more episode comes out from season 5, so I can watch it. And then when all the season episodes comes out, I can have my co-host to watch it with me in the later future when it finishes up.
And then we'll do a follow-up episode.
Exactly.
All right then. So now that you've heard our thoughts on My Hero Academia,
go watch it yourself.
Go watch it yourself.
And then come back to this video and put it in the comments how you like it. But if you're watching this and you've already seen Hero Academia and you are current with the anime, not the manga, because he's not current and I am not current, unfortunately. I watched the anime first. But if you've seen this, if you want to give out your own opinions, leave it in the comments below. We will read it when we have time.
And yeah, so you can like give us like negative comments, but if you can just put 5 stars on whatever podcast app you use, that'd be great.
Exactly.
Okay, so this part of the show, we're gonna announce what our next episode's gonna be. So Ryu, my co-host, he took the lead on this one. He recommended My Hero Academia
for the first episode. And now the second episode, we're gonna go to my co-host Jack, and he's recommending.
I am gonna recommend the 1999. No, not the 1999. The 1990 gangster classic Goodfellas, directed by Martin Scorsese.
And I have never seen it before, so this is going to be a trip for me.
So this is actually something that you're going to see a lot in this show. I'm going to recommend like classic movies that he's never seen.
And I'm going to recommend anime he hasn't never seen.
All right, so...
but if you guys, in the future, if we ran out of ideas to come out, we will ask you, the viewers, to give us what movie or what anime we should watch. If it's not in our list, we will add it to the list and we will make a video of it in the future.
Yeah, and I think I'll probably post the list on our social media too, so you guys know what will be coming up.
And you guys don't repeat yourselves.
Exactly. All right, thanks for watching the first episode of the Anime Match Cut podcast.
I hope you guys enjoyed. Enjoyed our personalities.
Nah, people are gonna hate on me for hating on that one kid.
I do, because like I said, we will be here for an hour if we continue.
Yeah.